of jab.
We met.
Which actually, what does that mean?
Jab.
Jab.
We met.
I know.
I don't know what it means, but it is interesting.
There's a lot of
We gotta unpack
twists.
this.
A lot of twists.
I feel like we've seen a lot of the same story beats and done more authentically than this one.
Fair.
That's a good point.
Guys,
But
let us know what you think in the comments and be nice to our review. Be nice.
This is
and
just-
be respectful.
this is just our opinion. It's
This is
not
our
fact.
opinion.
It's
Disclaimer.
just what we think.
Send love, right? Be loving,
Yes,
right? It's okay.
please.
Everything's gonna be okay. All right.
It's all right. It's a free
I
country.
know you like
Send
this
hate.
movie. If you like this
Okay,
movie,
man,
that's
take it.
good. Okay. We have our opinions.
Yo.
It's all good.
It's gravy.
Back to the
It's all
review.
right.
It was definitely wild with all the plot twists. I don't really. There was some stuff that I didn't really understand why she was trying to get back with that other guy.
Yeah.
Can we scroll down?
Yeah.
What's his name?
You
Just
mean,
so I'm not.
you mean
getting...
Ashkan?
Yeah.
Anshuman,
Because she
yeah.
was like, she made the decision not to.
Right.
She's like, oh yeah, he doesn't want to get married, so okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna burn his photograph in a way. Except
Right.
through the phone call was kind of her way of like expressing,
Right.
like, hey, we're not together. And then I don't really understand why she would be okay with being back together with him when he clearly did not like her at first. So like
Yeah.
suddenly, just because he's jealous, he wants to get back together with her, and she accepts that.
Right.
And
think she
then,
was just
but then
sensitive.
at the very end, of course, it all flips around again.
That was
But
confusing.
There was a little bit of confusion on why they added that plot point again.
Yeah, it was
Of
very-
adding another twist in there that didn't
Right.
really add up.
Right.
But I thought the acting was fun. I really like Kareena Kapoor, her acting, and
She's
Shahid.
fun.
Yeah, he did
He was
really
pretty fun,
good.
too,
He
yeah.
was in Hater, which
Right.
I loved him in
I
Hater.
was
And he
more
was fun.
frustrated with honestly the writing.
Yeah,
than I
and
was
okay,
of
and
anything.
we will say, okay, the subtitles could have been off. We don't know for sure how accurate the subtitles are in English because,
That's
like,
fair. I don't think it mattered too. I mean,
well,
we were
no,
able to
I'm
get
just
used to
saying,
it.
like,
Right. No,
the
I get it.
people
Yep.
it could be totally different in Hindi.
And,
Like, who knows?
And
what
that's fair.
some of
I
the
just
lines
think
are like.
that in the writing of different characters' motivations didn't make much sense, and there was a lot of times, honestly, where I didn't like Geet. It was like when she was like talking to the
Yeah,
Ashke
I
guy,
think-
and he was like, "No," and
Yeah.
she was just like, she kept, it's like,
Yeah, I
dude,
think
he said
they
no.
all.
And by the way, she didn't even tell him that she he was like, "No, I
Oh,
don't want to get
about
married,"
the-
and then she's like, "I'm gonna elope with you anyways."
Yeah,
Do you know
well,
what I
and
mean?
then she didn't really tell her family where she was at
Well,
or
but
anything.
but the point is
That
that
was-
she just was like, "Oh, I'll convince him to marry me." It was
Yeah.
not even like, "Oh, he wants to marry me." It was like, "Oh, I want to marry him, and so we're gonna get married." So it was just all about her, which I was like not on
But
her side. for.
I would say, yeah, I think they were trying to like show her flaws at the beginning at least.
Right.
When Aditya
Yeah.
was like trying to call her out on some of her flaws, but I did think like they were also trying to show that some of like living in the present is good, but then also you have to think of the future.
Right, by making
but
her
they
get
could have
slapped.
made that, yeah. Well, and how she helped out Aditya because he was like sad at first and he needed to get out of that mindset, and so she like helped him out in that way.
Right.
But yeah, it's true. I think they definitely all had their flaws, and like
Right.
they could have made it a little more. The writing could have been a little more clear in that.
Yeah.
Like, but
The thing is, like, when you've seen kind of the story beats before, you have to bring something new to the table. I think
Right.
a little bit,
I think that's fair.
and we've seen the standard kind of like, let's get out of your comfort zone, or let's kind of explore the world, live life
Right.
as it is.
Right.
like Zindagi.
We've seen that
did
before.
really
We've done
well.
Amazing.
Zindagi,
Amazing.
but I think it was
Amazing.
executed more, like,
Yeah.
more interestingly. I feel like.
Yes.
Um,
I think we've seen some
Yeah.
really, really good Indian movies. You know what I mean? That have that have
work
similar
with this
vibes,
plot
like Ben's
line.
saying. And I think that this one wasn't like a really, really good Indian movie. Just in general, I think, right?
Well, sure.
At least
yeah,
in
and
our
we'll
yeah,
get
in
to
our
our ratings. I
Yeah,
suppose.
we'll have to get to our ratings.
But I
Right.
think the biggest thing was just because it didn't seem their relationship didn't seem authentic, or the motivations behind their relationship
Motivations was the big issue
were
for me.
conflicting,
Yep.
and then of course when you finally do, you know how it's going to end then, and it's like, oh, okay, this is, we've seen, we kind of know where this is going, and
Well, yeah, I would say that
Yeah.
the last part of the movie was a little bit weird how they kept it going.
Right.
because
They
you
did
could
kind
have
of
just got
extend it,
together.
yeah.
There was nothing prohibiting you guys from like
And
those
right.
the two main people from getting together. I mean, it's
Right.
just
And
it was
people-
just to extend it.
People might consider, like, people might also say, well, like, you know, like a Marvel movie is very predictable what's going to
Well,
happen to
oh,
it.
I would
Sure.
say,
And
I
would
agree.
Sure.
Exactly.
We
That's
are
my
not,
point.
let's just say, let's make this
Yeah.
clear. We are not huge Marvel
No,
fans
and that's what my point
anymore.
is, that yes, like that, we don't like that
Yeah,
in movies.
yeah.
When movies
The
just kind of
formulaic,
are
yeah.
formulaic and we kind of know what's going to happen. That's not our style, and that's some people's style. Some
Yep,
people
and
love
that's okay. If you
knowing
like,
the ending. So I bet my wife would probably love this movie.
Mhm.
To be honest, she would probably love this because she knows how it's going to end. It's going to go up and down a
It's
bit.
like
I might
comfort
cry.
food.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
I'm
No,
not
I
a
totally
comfort
get
food
that.
guy,
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Yeah,
in,
This
in,
is-
in my real life,
th-
yeah. But in movies,
Comfort
no.
food.
Yeah.
It's just fairly highly rated. I looked on Letterboxd even too. So it's this seems like a fairly popular.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone's different. It's the
Yeah. People that are that carefree
without
to me,
any sort of
they
structure to their lives.
it becomes very stressful because you almost have to help them maintain themselves. You know, I've dealt with
Oh,
people.
like how he was trying to like.
Yeah.
help her.
I've dealt with people like that are just very carefree and do not really just live in the present and just kind of move along, and there's no real
It's like,
forethought.
hey, you have to have some like.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a lot like there has to be some logic brought into your life. It's like, hey, you can't
Yeah.
just not worry
Which-
about anything. Eventually, something you
Right.
have to.
And to Isaac's
Yeah.
point too, that's what happened in the movie.
Yeah.
She didn't care, and then at the very, it's like, hey, you have to.
Yeah.
The guy has to want to marry you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then that's kind of which I liked.
Yeah, they flipped it where
Right.
she was like
Right.
sad, and he had to get her out of it and stuff.
But yeah, I think just in general, there was. We've seen a lot of other movies that had a lot more depth to it, and I think just this didn't have as much
Yeah.
depth.
And I'll be saying, like, I'll be the first one to say, like, I didn't even necessarily love Dear Zindagi either. Like,
I love that movie.
I know, and you guys
Wait,
did,
you
and that's
mean-
something where, or
not
sorry,
Dear Zindagi,
I
that's
forget.
another.
It's so hard to remember all the names.
Zindagi Dobra.
Maybe the one that also
don't
was pretty
think
like
that's-
I think it's
free-spirited.
Zindagi de Dobra or something like that.
I can't.
We just call it Zindagi.
Yeah,
it
I
means
know.
life.
We should stop calling it Zindagi
I
because
don't
people
know.
are gonna
Zindabat, no.
Zindagi
People are-
na
Nah,
Milegi
Milegi
Dobara.
Dobara.
I was
Oh,
close.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
this one.
Na Milegi Dobara.
That's the one we're talking. Whenever we say Zindagi, that's
Yeah.
the one we've seen.
Yeah.
So.
So I'm not necessarily, and this is no surprise to me. That's why I'm just not like these movies. I'm not entirely on. I do love seeing like free-spirited
Yeah.
movies to an
Well, like,
extent. And
well, like
finding
Queen
yourself,
was a
but-
lot like that. And we,
Yeah,
I
Queen,
really,
I really
liked
enjoyed
that
that
movie.
Yes,
Queen
but
was great.
Queen, it was from a girl's perspective who
Yeah.
is very much the other way, where
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
is
The
too conservative and she needs to loosen up a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, she was way too loose.
Yeah.
Kind of like in Queen, how the other girl in Queen
Yeah,
was way too loose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Was she the Italian
There-
girl, or is she
Oh,
no,
Fran- I
the
forget.
French.
Yeah, French.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the French lady.
That was I enjoyed Queen far more than this movie, probably just because of the characters were more authentic. I felt like
right. This definitely
instead
felt
of this,
more
like-
kid friendly to me.
or like just
Well,
family.
that's
family,
very true.
Family.
we
Queen
call them
focus.
we call them chick flicks in America.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
like
yeah.
just kind of
Yeah.
following some story beats.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily terrible or anything like
Well,
that.
it's just not our
Um,
style of movie, I think.
Sure,
Right? At least
and I
not
do
mine.
like some
Well,
chick flicks, so it's kind of like
yeah. I mean,
I don't.
I like certain.
Maybe
parts of
one.
this.
I don't know if I can name one, but I know what you mean.
yeah.
Well,
But I also think too, I did appreciate the different. When the start of the movie, he was teaching her or she was teaching him.
Yeah,
something.
I like how it
And
went
then
full
it
circle,
reversed,
you
and
know.
they're going through the same things. That's an interesting concept because
Yeah.
they're balancing each other out with
Well,
their
Yep.
their ability to kind of
Right.
Yep.
their relationship with each other. That was pretty good. But at that point, I was kind of already mentally checked out of their relationship or
Sure.
the story in general, and so it didn't hit as hard as it could have, I think,
Right.
or didn't
Okay.
fall into place as much as it could
Mhm.
have. But I do appreciate that kind of juxtaposition.
Yeah,
of the
I
first.
like how they tied
Yeah.
everything
Starting
back.
it.
Like when he was trying to help her forget the other guy, and like with the phone call, and he's like just abuse the man.
Abuse him.
Yeah,
that was kind of funny. Yeah.
And then like how he was like, I know karate, and then that whole joke of that was
Yeah.
funny.
Right.
There's some,
right.
that was
Uh,
kind of interesting.
Yeah, I like the throwbacks there.
Right, yeah.
But yeah. Should we give our ratings?
Yeah, let's do
boys?
it. Yeah.
All right. I'm ready.
Okay.
3,
Oh boy.
2, 1.
3.
2.5.
Oh,
Okay,
Ben,
there we
okay.
go.
This is the lowest
I
I
figured
have
we
ever
would
given
say-
it any movie.
I would
gotta
say
rate
I
that.
really I love the music, the fun of it. It was fun. Like a lot of it was really fun. But yeah, the ending for me kind of got it got a little
It got
convoluted.
weird. Yep. Yep.
But I would say, I mean, I still had a fun time with it. So I
Yeah,
I
that's
gave
why I
it a
did 3
middle
too.
of the
I
road
had
rating.
fun.
Yep.
Making fun of that one guy. That was fun.
We're gonna have to, I
That's
wonder.
true.
I
Michael
wonder
is,
if we bleeped out all that one.
I don't know. we
It's
did,
not
but
a
I mean,
bad
That
word.
guy
I
did
don't understand
get
what
it.
you're
You know what I
guys are
mean?
talking
He did get it. But yeah, so but again, guys, let us know what you think we should
Yeah.
watch.
Yeah.
Well,
Um,
let us know what you thought of this movie. I mean,
Right.
I'm
we wanna
definitely
hear
on
your
the extreme
perspective.
end of the
Right.
spectrum in terms of the ratings
Yep.
for this movie, and we're all a little
Yep.
bit lower.
Yeah,
than
and guys,
expected,
we're gonna
but-
be having
Hey.
some horror movie specials coming up soon.
Yes,
So
that
we're gonna
will
be watching
fun.
some spooky Indian movies
Halloween
as well.
edition.
So go
yeah.
check those out when they come out. I think they're coming out next week too.
Yeah,
so we gotta,
it'll be,
yeah. So we
yeah,
gotta
it'll
get
be
rolling
soon.
for that.
So
get excited for that, guys. Leave us a like and a sub.
yeah,
So
and check
Please.
out our other
and please
content.
just be
Check
nice.
out our Patreon.
Have a great day.
It's a
Keep the
free country.
comments
I'm
free
fine
and nice.
if we get.
Oh, I was
flamed
gonna say
in
this
the
before we
comments,
end.
but-
Before we end, I was also gonna say I think too, some of this movie we probably don't feel as hard with because there's not arranged marriages in America. We can choose who we want to marry and just pick them.
Yeah,
Oh.
there was a lot.
Whereas
So in this,
it was so much more. She has to marry this guy, but then she doesn't want to.
and especially near the end there, where they
Right.
were like afraid to tell the family.
Right.
That's probably a huge thing
In America,
India.
that's just
'Cause-
not the case. So that's
yeah.
probably maybe why we didn't like it as much either, because
Yeah.
we don't feel that necessarily like that pull of, oh, I need to make sure that guy sees so he breaks it off.
Yeah.
Like that
So
to
there's
us
some
is crazy.
context
So
that for you guys on
Yeah.
like, where we're coming from. And
right.
that-
Well, and I just
but
think
we-
just for
and-
us too, just so
Yeah.
to know that. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
But
all
yeah,
right.
all
Good stuff,
good,
guys.
Good fun.
Yeah, Michael's
so-
marriage with Sadie was arranged by the.
Yeah, oh,
I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
100%.
It was.
Actually,
No, just
yes, by his sister.
Oh yeah, there you
Indirectly.
Go. Yeah, man, yeah. Thank you.
Arranged
Thank you,
marriages
sister.
that aren't necessarily.
No,
Yeah, that's a joke though, right?
a
Yeah,
joke.
maybe. I don't know. Peace out.
You don't even know if
I
he's
don't know what
arranged
to
or
say.
not.